You show me a dated china closet and I'll show you how to chop it up in parts. The base becomes an updated server while the top becomes a sexy bar cabinet, complete with acrylic legs and a zebra mirror. Left are the china cabinet doors and I have plans for them. I'm a brand ambassador for Made by Marley Papers, and I've been waiting to share the secret. A new release. How exciting! And this is just a sneak peek. My china cabinet doors have mullions in them, so they look like shelves to me. So I want to fill them with teacups and books. I've been looking on Pinterest for some ideas with teacups and books, and then I'm returning to some of my own work for inspiration. Of course, I'll be using Made by Marley decoupage papers, but here's some teacups that I stenciled on a table a while back, and I just love it. I'm using that teacup stencil and the teacup on the new Charlotte stamp from IOD to create some teacups from the Made by Marley decoupage paper. I made sort of a mood board with different illustrations that I had found on Pinterest. So I'll do a combination of book stacks, teacups, piles of teacups, teacups on books. You get the idea. I really did need a plant. I was also thinking perhaps a background. Using the stencil, I cut out a bunch of teacup shapes. I used the gold Posca marker to add some details like perhaps the handle, the base, and around the lip of the cup, just to make them look a little more like teacups and not just shapes. And then I took a glaze in the black and just kind of put a shadow around the corners to give them some dimension. And I proceeded this and put some stacks together. And then I clipped them together so I knew I wanted that as a stack. Trying to hold it up so you can see it there. But I continued doing this, again, using the markers and the shading and everything to get different combinations and mix it up a little bit. I did the same procedure with the books as well. I strategically positioned my cutouts, so I used that white area to do, and I hand drew what looked to me like the pages. I used the Charlotte stamp to make an impression of a teacup. Obviously, it didn't show up very well, so I flipped it over to the other side and did it there and made my cutout, and it worked just fine. Then I tried to figure out the book stacks. I used the white sections of that paper. This is from the brand new release called Timeless. Again, to do the pages and then cut out the book jackets from the rest. I used the markers and decorated the books and the cups as I had previously. Time to clean those window panes. Finally, I can begin to decoupage those teacups on. And remember, we're doing reverse decoupage, so I'm doing it backwards. So I'm applying the Mod Podge to the design part, to the front of the teacups. And I had to remind myself of that every single thing that I put on that board. There were times when I did it on the wrong side and just had to flip it. And yes, I was peeling Mod Podge off of my fingers for hours, but I like doing that. I mean, who doesn't? And time number 1 that I put the decoupage medium on the wrong side. I wanna be with you always, 'cause that is what my heart says. That's what my heart says. I wanna be with you always, always, yeah. You are my world in every place. And that's how it's looking so far. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do the book stack. So I have one book down and I'll stack them up. When I turned the design around, it didn't quite look right to me. It was like the teacup was just floating even though it was on the stack of books. So I tried to peel off the teacup. Well, that wasn't going to happen without a mess. So I repositioned it and decided to add another book to the stack laying on top of the open book. I had to adjust as I went. I was kind of designing on the fly. Outside, I was struggling with everything. I had a spray bottle that had vinegar and water in it, 50-50 mix. Couldn't get the sprayer to work, so I had to take the little thing out and just sprinkle it. Then I used a gold spray paint, kind of sparingly. And then I came in with looking glass spray paint, the mirror finish. So I was going around those arches and around the teacups. I wanted to leave some space for yet another decoupage paper because I wanted to have a little bit of pattern showing through. I ended up abandoning this for this day, and then I had to get more looking glass spray paint because they were all clogged and at the end of the cans. So that was the end of that for the day. What I thought was looking pretty good, I ended up putting some hardware on it to hold those two doors together, and it does look pretty good. That's what it looks like with the spray paint. I end up using another new paper called Beyond Borders, and I am cutting that up so that I can fit it in those window panes. I try to use just one pack because there's 3 pages in there, but I end up breaking into another one, and I'm just tearing those edges. I'll still have plenty left for more projects though, for sure. While I'm trying the look on for size, it's about now that I'm realizing I definitely need more looking glass spray paint. Just wasn't the look that I was going for. I don't want to have to see the lines even though I tore them. The next day, after getting some more spray paint, I begin to decoupage those pieces behind my design. So some of them I didn't tear the edges, I just cut off the border, and those were going side by side behind the mullion. So I didn't have to worry about that. Some of the pieces I tore right on the spot as I was making my design. It's so easy to tear this paper. I don't have to worry about it ripping or anything. It's just a nice weight of paper that I can tear it easily. After all that decoupage paper was dry, I came back in with black paint because I wanted those areas that had the mirror behind them to look old. So that was the purpose of using the vinegar water, because that acts as a resist when you're spraying. So then you kind of get an aged mirror look. Then it was time to paint the front. I chose a blue-green color from the papers. After that was dry, I used the palette knife to put some extra colors in there. So I used some yellow, I used some red, and I used another shade of turquoise. After all that dried, it was time for some dark wax. I'm using brown, and I'm just going pretty heavily all over it because I want to give it a distressed look. So I'm just kind of putting the wax where I want it, and then I'll come back and just gently wipe it back. I apply some bronze gilding wax with my fingertip just to give the hardware some new life. Taking a quick look at everything in its entirety, I don't really like those lines on the paper, and I also realized there were some spots where I left the white border. So I am just cleaning up those windows on the front, and I am going to add some transfers now. That wasn't in my original plan at all, but you know, I've come this far, so I want to make sure that I'm happy with the final result. You've seen me apply transfers before, so there's nothing new about that, but I just continue to place them in all the places where I feel like my paper has just kind of made an abrupt stop. Again, it really wasn't my intention to put these transfers on here. I'm glad they were available for my use, but in retrospect, I would have used more of the paint. I'll be sure to list all of the names of the decoupage papers that I used in the description box. Remember what these cabinet doors looked like before? We'll take a look at them now. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. You can join our membership for only 99 cents a month. Just hit the join button now. Find us on the web at www.statementdesigns.org and on social media as Statement Designs. Stay well.